Good morning and welcome to the CoreCommerce weekly webinar, another fantastic episode in this ongoing series. Uh, my name is Chris, and I am the COO of CoreCommerce, and I will do a brief intro here in just a moment, but just giving everyone a minute or two to join and we'll get started. Okay, great. It looks like most of the people who registered are here. So I will go ahead and get started. Today's topic is vendors and drop shipping and how you can not only just how you use those features in core commerce, but what the benefits of those features are. And first, I'm going to briefly, again, some of you might be getting tired of hearing this part, but my name is Chris Graffinino. I am the COO of Core Commerce. I've been around this space since 2003, been with this company since then as well. And I've been a sales rep, I've been a support technician, I've been pretty much anything, any role that has been around in this company. I've done it at least a few different times over the course of those years. So um, I know as much about what core commerce does and how it can help you as probably anybody. And looking forward to telling you a little bit about vendors and drop shipping today. So the first question I want to answer is not just what is vendors. I think we all know what drop shipping means, um, but what are some benefits of trying to drop ship, especially now in 2020 compared to past years or 1 year ago or 5 years ago. And one big reason of that is e-commerce itself as a part of overall retail sales is growing, which means online selling is continuing to grow in the share of overall retail sales. Um, it just continues to e-commerce is just gaining more and more of a share of that pie, right? And because of that, it's important to consider, hey, I have to get my business. If my business is currently not online, I need to get it online, um, and I need to find efficient ways to get something up and running quickly that allows me to ship things when I may not have my own whole shipping process in place or a warehouse to store items, or I may not have the capital to buy a bunch of inventory ahead of time. And so just with the fact that things are growing, it's becoming more and more important that you do things online and drop shipping, especially if you don't do the majority of your business online today. um, Drop shipping's a quicker and a more efficient way to get something up and running, assuming you have the ability to drop ship the kind of items you're selling, right? And another unfortunate but uh, real reason for wanting to pursue potential drop shipping is due to COVID-19. So you know if you're running a business today that doesn't drop ship but has the opportunity to drop ship, one thing to consider is the pandemic itself. If you're ordering a bunch of inventory and having it shipped to you, then you're potentially touching things that other people touched, and just drop shipping can create that contactless shipping fulfillment experience for you and your business. Um, and maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't, but it's certainly something to think about. As you know that you have many boxes showing up at your warehouse a day, and who knows who's touched them, and if those people, who they've been around, it just that whole scenario, it just makes the drop shipping model a little more enticing, right? To potentially, check those check boxes to not have to worry about that as much. And just on the same token, because in drop shipping, most of the time you're not purchasing the inventory until customers have ordered that item, right? So you may send various purchase orders to your vendors once a day, once a week, to purchase what you need to fulfill the orders that have come in during that week or come in on that day, right? We have customers who literally make individual purchases from their vendors every single day to cover the orders that came in the previous day. Have customers that buy from their vendors once a week or buy from their vendors month to month and store some of it in-house. Just they don't, they buy just enough to cover what they believe they might sell over the course of a month. But they buy stuff ahead of time, right? So you're purchasing kind of future shipments, but the main point of drop shipping is kind of purchase as you go, since you don't have to store anything in your building, right? So it can save on inventory costs. It can save on warehouse operating costs as well to drop ship when the opportunity presents itself. And so now that we have talked about a few reasons why it might be more of an option for you to look at in 2020 if you don't do it already today. Next, I'm going to take a few moments and just walk through how drop shipping would be set up in the CoreCommerce product itself. And the first thing you would want to do is in CoreCommerce, it's referred to, the ability to drop ship is referred to as vendors. And so if you were to go to the inventory tab on the left side navigation and click view vendors, you would come to a screen like this. Now, the screen is already pre-populated with a bunch of fake vendor data, but you would see all the vendors that you have created on the screen. You can add a vendor, you can edit and delete a vendor, of course. And you have the ability to import and export your list of vendors to a CSV file as well, if you choose to. And when you add or edit a vendor, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. It's going to have other fields on it, of course. This is just a screenshot of part of that screen, but you'd be supplying the email address, the physical address of that vendor, plus some other base information, including the ability to upload a logo, which you can't see right now in this screenshot. But the ability for that is so that a vendor can have their own landing page that shows all their products if you want them to have that. And you can, give each vendor an account number. Like I said, fill in their whole address as well. And once you've added your vendors into CoreCommerce and they're all saved, the next step is going to be to go into a product and tell CoreCommerce which vendor ties to which product. So as you can see in bold here, and to say important, a product can only be tied to one vendor. So when you were on this screen inside the product editor, you'd go to inventory and then manage products, and then you would edit an item. And then on the general screen, you'd see one of the accordion sections would say vendors. And in here, you can start typing the name of a vendor. It will auto suggest to you. You pick the one you want, and you can save. It's not going to let you save 2 vendors or 3 vendors tied to one product. It's only going to let you save 1. And so you can do this one product at a time, or you can use the product import CSV tool to tell the system which vendor goes with which item. So the one requirement, of course, is that the vendors already exist in CoreCommerce, and you would tell it the exact company name of that vendor, and it would find that and match it up for you. And now once all of your products are tied to vendors correctly, the next step is to go kind of just configure how you want the checkout and the fulfillment side of the shopping cart system to deal with vendors. And so the last step in setting this up would be to go to your settings at the top, the settings gear, and then you'd go to inventory settings. And inside inventory settings, one of the accordions is going to say vendors. And when you open that accordion up, it's going to show you all the options you see in this screenshot here, including the ability just to have vendors on as a whole. That second option is probably the most important one. And it, as it says, email orders to vendors when an order is placed. So what's going to happen is, if I'm Joe customer and I come to your store and I buy three different things, and let's say each one of those three different items belongs to a different vendor in your store. So what's going to happen is when you get the email saying that order came in, the system's also going to send out three individual emails, one to each one of those vendors. And in the email the vendor gets, they're going to see, hey, this customer at this shipping address ordered this item, and it basically gives them the instructions on what to ship and where to ship it. Now, they're not going to see any details about what else that customer ordered, any other items that are not related to what they do. All they're going to see is, oh, yep, here's this item. It needs to go to this address, and then they'll do the drop shipping order for you. You can also include the SKU, or choose to only include the SKU inside the email if you want. That gets a little tricky sometimes because the SKU you may classify an item as in CoreCommerce may not be the exact SKU that the vendor or the manufacturer uses. And, so you may not want to pass the SKU to them, because it might confuse them because, like I said, it may not be the same exact SKU they use. So having the ability to offer, and put your own SKUs in there, and then take the SKU away so it doesn't confuse your vendor, is something you can do as well. You can also choose whether or not the vendor is going to see the price. And the price in this case is the price that the customer is paying for it, not the price or the cost that you paid for it to buy it from the vendor and have it drop shipped, right? So if you don't want your vendors or drop shippers to see the price that the customer paid for that item, you would leave that option unchecked as well. Vendors also have the ability to log in and can view all the orders that have come in related to them, in addition to getting that email as well. So that's where drop shipping ends. It's a very important feature and very useful, but pretty simple as well. And so from that point there, I will stop and see what questions you have. One other thing I did want to mention here on this screen is you'll notice there was a drop down. I took a zoomed in screenshot of it because I thought it was important. Is you have the ability to also decide when the vendor email gets sent. So, if I place that same order for three items, do you want the vendors to immediately get that email the minute I hit the submit button and it saves the order? Or do you want to wait until you've marked it as approved? And the reason that comes up is, if you choose to use a payment option, let's say like check or money order, or something where the payment isn't online, it doesn't happen at the time the order is placed, right? If somebody placed an order with check in CoreCommerce, that order would be saved as pending. So in this setting you see here, if you leave it set to when the order is submitted, the vendor would still get that email, even at the point that order went through, even if it was pending, even if you hadn't been paid for that order yet. The other option in that dropdown is when the order is marked as approved, meaning, you would go in, you'd view the orders that are pending, you'd verify them. And once either you've gotten paid for them or whatever your criteria is for okaying that order and allowing it to move forward, you would set that order to approved. And then at that point, it would trigger all the emails to the vendors related to the items in that order. So you can control that, not only if it sends an email, but also at what point it sends an email. And most people, if you take 100% online payments, everything's by credit card, all your orders are going to get saved as approved at the time the order is saved anyway, then the setting really doesn't matter. But for customers who take offline payments, it gives you that option to do that as well. And with that said, I will stop and see if there's any questions.